Hi there, my name is Kim Houlihan, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a tie fleece blanket. This project is really fun for people of all ages to do, and the best part is that it's pretty much foolproof. So the materials that you'll need to be able to make a fleece blanket is a pair of scissors, one that can cut nicely through some thicker fabric. A ruler is optional, but you might want to use that. And then I have a piece of paper that I've cut to be a 3-inch square. That's just an estimate, it doesn't have to be exact, but I'll show you what you're going to do with that. And then the other really important piece are the 2 pieces of fleece. So you can see mine, I have this pink and white polka dot fleece, and then also this blue kind of patterned fleece. So what you'll need to do first is to lay out your fleece and try to match them up exactly on top of one another. If it's not exact, you can see sometimes when they cut it at the fabric store, it's not an exact straight line, and that's okay because you won't be able to tell in the end. As I said, kind of a foolproof project. So with your card, make sure it's cut into a square, whether that's 3 inches or 4 inches, and you're going to place it on the corner of your fleece like this, and then you will cut that a square out of the corners of your fleece. So I'm cutting this way and then again, and you'll see I kind of took out the corner here. That's the first step of the project. You're going to end up with just some pieces of fabric cut out there, and now you have a square that's cut out. It's important to do this step on all 4 corners of your fleece. So that's the first step, is to do this 4 times on each of the corners. After you have finished and you have those cutouts of the squares, then you're going to go ahead and start cutting your strips. So you're going to be cutting strips along each side of your blanket, and you want the strips to be even with the cut that you just made from this cutout here. So they're going to be about 3 inches on my blanket because that's how big my square was. They're going to be about 3 inches long, and then we want to do them about 1 inch wide. Again, this is does not have to be perfect. The reason that I have a ruler with me is not to measure and make sure each thing is exactly 1 inch apart or whatever. It's just to kind of give myself a guidance, because the farther away you get from your cutout corner, the harder it is to tell how far down to go. So the reason it's important to make it line up is because if you have your slits are too short, it's going to be really hard to tie your blanket, and if they're too long, they'll get really thin and they can snap off. So we don't want that. So if you just have, and it really doesn't have to be a ruler, it can be any straight surface, you want to take both pieces of your fleece and you cut about 1 inch wide, and you're just going to keep cutting all the way down along your fabric. So you can see I'm cutting up until I get to the ruler, and then I stop. So you would continue this all the way down. And then I cut first and then do the tying, although I don't see why you couldn't cut and then tie and doing one side at a time. The reason I like to cut first is because when you do the tying, you do kind of pull on the fabric a little bit, and you don't want it to move the other sides around, because if you remember, we matched it up. So I would just turn, once you finish this whole side here with your slits, turn. I'm gonna try to make it so you can still see. And then again, you just line up that straight edge to show you kind of how far to cut along. You can see this got a little bit pulled. And you're gonna make those strips again on the other side, and you would do this on all 4 sides of your fleece. So once you have finished and you have all of your sides fringed like this, then is the tying part. And this, if you can believe it, is the last step. So this blanket is very easy to make. So you just separate your 2 fleeces, and you want to tie a knot, just a regular knot. You can do it either just this way, a double knot like you normally would make when tying any sort of knot, And if you do it that way, then the fabric that the tie is on matches, so you can see that. Or you could choose to do a square knot. So I put one side over the other, tie it, and then I do the opposite. And the first few knots are sometimes the hardest because you're pulling the fabric like that. So you can see different ways. Or if you wanted to, you could tie the knot so that the opposite side's fabric is on that side. So you can see I'm pulling it through, but then I would just switch these so that the pink is showing on the blue side. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but, and you just keep going. You tie all the way. And it doesn't have to be the same. You could choose to have some blue on blue, some pink on blue. And you can tell from these fringes that, like, even though my fleece didn't line up exactly perfectly, it doesn't make a difference. It's still, you know, it looks like this fringe here. These are the ones I haven't tied yet. And when you're all done, you will have a blanket that has a cute little fringe on the sides of the fleece. You want to make sure you double knot it. If you only knot one time, it will come undone. So it might look like, oh, it's good to go even just after one tie, but I promise you that will not last very long. That will get untied really easily the first time someone tries to use the pillow. So then you'd have to, it would be really hard to retie once the blanket's fully made and all the sides are fringed. So it would be better to just do a double knot the first time. So there you have it. Then your whole blanket will look like this and have this fringe side on there. And it's super cozy, super warm. It has 2 layers in it. So they're very nice blankets to snuggle up with.